Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's video, we will learn about Flex container properties. Let's start with the first property, display flex. This property is used to tell the browser that the div and its children will follow flex layout rules. So let's try giving this div display flex. So coming here. So we've already got this container here. So let's change the display value. Say display flex. Let's save it. And now as you can see, all the items are moved next to each other and are taking only enough space to wrap the content. By default, the direction is row, but we can change that using the flex direction property. So let's try that. So flex direction, let's say row. And now when I save it, nothing changes because as I just mentioned, row is the default value. So that's how these are positioned. Let's try another value, row reverse. Let's save it. And as you can see, they aren't just aligned on the right. So if you see here, the first element is div1, the second is div2, then div3, then div4. So if I just bring this down here, and I just remove and save it. So as you can see, the div is starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, but when you make it row reverse, they don't just move on the right, they start from the right. All right. Similarly, let's try another value, which is column. Let's save it. And now as you can see, all the elements are stacked. So we've got the first on the top and the last on the bottom. Similarly, it accepts another value, column reverse. Let's save it. And as you can see, the elements are starting from the bottom. So div1 is at the bottom. So div1, then on top of that div2, and topmost is div4. Let's just bring it back to row for now. Let's save it. So as you can see, these elements are next to each other. So there's a lot of empty space over here. So let's try to manage this available space. Say we want all the elements to have equal space between them. For that, we can use another property called justify content. So let's bring up our code editor, justify content, say space between. Let's save it. And now as you can see, all the available space is divided equally between all these elements. So if you notice this justify content property, it works on the main axis and it accepts some more values. So let's try that. So instead of space between, let's say we want all these items to have the same space around them also. So instead of space between, we could do space around. Let's save it. And now as you can see, all the available space is divided around them. So we've got space here, here, and even on the left and right hand side. Similarly, we can move everything at the start. So let's say flex start. So all these items, they move to the start. Similarly, we can move them to the end. So we could do flex end. So unlike direction row reverse, flex end moves everything to the end of the main axis. So as you can see, we've got div 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, we can move it at the center as well. So for that, we can just use this value center. And now all the elements are in the center horizontally or on the main axis. Similarly, let's try this property for column as well. So let's change this to column. Let's save it. And because there is no extra space, so let's increase the height, say 100 viewport height. Let's save it. And right now, justify content is center, so that's why all these items are in the center across the main axis, which is vertical now because this is a column. Similarly, let's try space between. Let's save it. And now as you can see, there's equal space between all the items. Let's try changing it to space around. Let's save it. And now as you can see, there's space on the top and bottom as well. Similarly, let's try changing it to flex start. Because this is a column, so everything moved to the top. We can also move everything at the bottom by using flex end. So everything came down. All right, so let's bring everything back to normal right now. So flex direction row. Let's remove the height. All right. So we've got this normal flex container. Let's say we had more items. So let's just come here. So coming to our index.html file, let's copy it and paste it here. Now we have double the items. Let's paste it again. And now as you can see, we've got our item is a bit shrinked because the div and the number is on the next line now. Let's paste it again. And now as you can see, the content is overflowing because Flex cannot shrink it anymore. So that's why the content is overflowing. By default, Flex doesn't wrap content in the next line, but we can do that using the property Flex wrap. So let's give it a try. So coming back here, let's say Flex wrap. It accepts a value wrap. Let's save it. And now as you can see, all that overflowed content is coming on the next line. Similarly, it accepts value wrap reverse. Let's save it. As you can see, the content starts from the second line and it goes till the end. And when it's about to overflow, it moves to the line above it. So that's how this wrap reverse works. And it also accepts this value, no wrap. So in case you don't want to wrap your elements, you could simply do no wrap. Similarly, let's try this property for column as well. So coming back here, let's remove this. Let's change it to column. Let's save it. And right now, as you can see, there's no overflow because we did not give a fixed height to our Flex element. So it's scrolling vertically. So let's give it a height. Say 100 viewport height. Let's save it. And as you can see, now it's overflowing outside. So let's change that. So let's say Flex wrap. Let's give it the value wrap. And now as you can see, once it reaches the end vertically, it creates another column. And once it reaches the end, it creates another column. Let's try giving it a value reverse wrap. So wrap reverse, let's save it. And now as you can see, it starts from the end. So one column, then two column, and then the third column. And that's all for today, guys. If there is something that you did not understand, feel free to drop a comment and we will discuss it. See you in the next video. Bye and take care.